Have you ever noticed that the exact song you needed to hear starts playing right when you're having a breakdown? Or you randomly bump into someone who gives you the perfect advice at the exact moment you need it most? What if I told you that your life is constantly speaking to you in a secret language, and most people are completely deaf to it? Carl Jung discovered this hidden communication system over 100 years ago, and understanding Jung synchronicity might be the key to unlocking a level of guidance you never knew existed. Picture this. You're at your lowest point, questioning everything about your life direction. You decide to take a walk to clear your head, and you stumble upon a street art mural that perfectly captures your inner struggle. The artist somehow painted exactly what you've been feeling, but couldn't put into words. That's not coincidence. That's Jung synchronicity, revealing the secret language your psyche uses to communicate with you through the external world. Most people think life is either completely random or completely controlled by some external force. But Jung synchronicity suggests a third option, that your unconscious mind is constantly scanning the environment for meaningful patterns that match your psychological state. It's like having a personal translator who speaks the language of symbols, timing, and meaningful coincidence. Think about how your smartphone's algorithm learns your preferences and shows you content that matches your interests. Jung synchronicity works similarly, except instead of an algorithm, it's your unconscious mind recognizing patterns in reality that reflect your inner development. The difference is, this system has been running in the background of human experience for thousands of years. Here's where it gets really fascinating. Jung noticed that his patients would experience clusters of synchronicities right before major psychological breakthroughs. It's like the unconscious mind starts broadcasting more intensely when important changes are brewing. A woman struggling with confidence issues suddenly keeps encountering stories about people who overcame impossible odds. A man questioning his relationship starts noticing couples everywhere having the exact conversations he needs to have with his partner. Let me tell you about the most mind-blowing Jung synchronicity I've ever witnessed. My friend Sarah was terrified of public speaking, but kept getting opportunities that required it. She'd been avoiding them for years. One morning, she's walking to work, stressed about another speaking invitation she was going to decline, when a pigeon literally flies into her and gets tangled in her hair. As she's trying to free the bird, a passerby helps her and says, "Sometimes you just have to spread your wings, even when you're scared." That afternoon, she accepted the speaking engagement. The experience changed her entire career trajectory. Now here's the secret most people miss about Jung synchronicity. It's not just about receiving messages. You can actually start communicating back. When you pay attention to synchronicities and act on their guidance, you strengthen the connection. It's like improving your reception on that cosmic Wi-Fi network Jung talked about. This is completely different from superstition or magical thinking. Jung synchronicity isn't about believing that external forces control your life. It is about recognizing that your psyche has access to information that your conscious mind has unprocessed yet. Your unconscious is like an incredibly sophisticated pattern recognition system that picks up on subtle cues and presents them to you through meaningful coincidences. Here's a relatable example. You're feeling stuck in your routine, craving adventure, but scared to make changes. Then you keep seeing travel advertisements, overhearing conversations about gap years and finding feathers everywhere, symbols of flight and freedom. Your rational mind might dismiss these as random. But Jung's synchronicity suggests your unconscious is trying to communicate that you're ready for expansion, even if your conscious mind is resistant. The practical applications are incredible. People who understand Jung's synchronicity report feeling more guided, more purposeful, and more connected to their authentic path. They stop feeling like victims of random circumstances and start feeling like active participants in meaningful dialogue with life itself. But here's what's really wild about Jung synchronicity. It often works in reverse chronology. You'll experience a synchronicity that doesn't make sense until weeks or months later. You randomly meet someone at a coffee shop who mentions a specific book. You forget about it, but 3 months later, when you're facing a crisis, you remember the book, read it, and it provides exactly the insight you need. Jung synchronicity planted the seed months before you knew you'd need it. This suggests that your unconscious mind has access to information about your psychological development. Timeline that your conscious mind doesn't. It is like having a personal life coach who can see around corners and plants resources along your path before you even know you need them. Here's how you can start developing fluency in this secret language. First, pay attention to clusters. When the same symbol, word, or theme shows up multiple times in a short period. If you keep hearing about wolves, seeing wolf imagery, or meeting people named Wolfgang, ask yourself what wolves might represent in your current life situation. Loyalty, pack mentality, the need for more wildness in your domesticated life. Second, notice emotional resonance. Jung's synchronicity isn't just about repetition. It's about meaning that creates an emotional response. That random conversation you overhear that gives you chills or makes you cry is more significant than the 100th time you see your birth year on a license plate. Third, track the timing. Jung synchronicity often appears right before major decisions, during periods of transition, or when you're unconsciously ready for the next level of growth. A woman I know kept seeing double rainbows during the month she was deciding whether to move across the country. She took it as confirmation that her leap would lead to treasure on the other side. The secret to mastering Jung synchronicity is understanding that it's a two-way communication system. When you start responding to synchronicities, taking the book recommendation, calling the friend you were thinking about, investigating the opportunity that keeps presenting itself, you're essentially confirming that you received the message. This strengthens the connection and increases the frequency of meaningful coincidences in your life. But here's the most important thing about Jung synchronicity. It teaches you to trust your inner knowing in a world that often demands external validation for everything. When you start recognizing the secret language of meaningful coincidence, you develop confidence in your ability to navigate life using both rational analysis and intuitive wisdom. Jung synchronicity also reveals that you're not as separate from the world as you think. There is a mysterious connection between your inner state and external reality that suggests consciousness and matter are more intertwined than our materialistic worldview assumes. When you're Psychologically ready for insight, the insight appears. When you need guidance, the guidance shows up. When you're prepared for the next level, the opportunities present themselves. Here's a practical exercise to strengthen your Jung Synchronicity awareness. For the next week, ask yourself a specific question each morning, something you genuinely need guidance on. Then pay attention to unusual coincidences, unexpected encounters, and meaningful patterns throughout your day. Don't force interpretations, but notice what stands out as potentially significant. The most profound aspect of Jung's synchronicity is that it reveals life as an ongoing conversation rather than a series of random events. Every synchronicity is like a line of dialogue in an epic story where you read both the main character and co-author. The plot unfolds through the mysterious collaboration between your conscious choices and the deeper intelligence that seems to orchestrate meaningful coincidences. When you understand Jung's synchronicity, you realize that guidance isn't something you have to seek outside yourself through gurus, fortune tellers, or self-help books. The guidance is already flowing through your daily experience in the form of meaningful patterns, perfect timing, and symbolic encounters. You just need to learn the language. The secret language of Jung Synchronicity is always broadcasting. The question is, are you tuned in? Because once you start listening, you'll discover that life has been trying to have a conversation with you all along. You'll realize that you're not wandering through existence alone and confused. You're being guided by a form of intelligence that speaks through coincidence, timing, and meaning. So I want to know, what synchronicities have you noticed in your own life? What patterns keep showing up that you've been dismissing as coincidence? Drop a comment below and share your story, because when we share these experiences, we start to see just how universal and powerful Jung Synchronicity really is. Remember to like this video if Jung Synchronicity opens up a new way of seeing your life. Subscribe for more content on psychology and consciousness, and hit that notification bell so you never miss insights that might just arrive at exactly the moment you need them most. Because in the world of Jung Synchronicity, even finding this video might not be an accident.